Alright guys, here we go. So the second video today, second of three. What I want to do is I want to discuss this new stuff that we're going to be doing with graphs. Okay? Here we go. What we've been doing the last several days is we've been solving these absolute value equations. Okay? Equations, not functions, but equations for x. Looking at what we have, what do I do first? Say it out loud. What would I do? You don't have to multiply by 2. Here we go. 4 equals the absolute value of x plus 1. From here, we will break this up into two forms. One of what you see, the other of the negative form. I didn't flip anything. Houston, why didn't I flip anything? It's an equal sign. There's no inequality. There's nothing to flip. But I did take the negative version of it. Okay, so here we go. I will subtract 1, and I get those two answers there. That means on a number line, this is how I really want you to do your homework a lot. Okay, so we'll get to the inequalities here in just a bit. Graph a -5, graph a 3, and all by itself, because they're not inequalities, these are points, I can check them by plugging them into the original. -5 plus 1, -4. Absolute value, +4. Times 1/2, I get a 2. -5 works. If I plugged in 3, I get 3 plus 1 is 4. Absolute value is +4 still. Multiply by 1/2, 3 works. This is not a conjunction, not a disjunction, no and or. I just have two answers. And what you're learning today is you can also find two answers with a graph. So on your test or quiz, the other quiz that's coming, I could give you a graph and say, what are the answers here? Okay? And the best way that I can show you this, guys, to make this so much easier, is to put it like different colors. Okay? So let's put the first function that we put as blue, and the second one as red. What I'm about to do is graph two functions. Not one, but two. The left side is y equals 2. And y'all have done that since Algebra 1. The second one, here we go, is an absolute value that has been shifted what direction? Left 1. And this 1/2 is a what? Vertical compression by 1/2. So that means not only did it shift to the left, it also compressed. So it looks like it gets wider per se. You with me? So can someone tell me, anyone, what's the slope? Up 1 over 2. Listen to this. Check this out. Up 1 over 2. That means from the vertex, again, y'all said it shifted 1 to the left. And from here, I have up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Are y'all with me? Okay. So here we go. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. And it just keeps going for days. The other direction, it's going to go up 1 to the left 2. Up 1 to the left 2. Up 1 to the left 2. And it keeps going for days. Here we go. Look at the colors. When does blue equal red? At x equals -5 is when they touch, they intersect. And at x is equal to 3. You with me? So fair enough, this is pretty easy right now, okay? When we can start getting to the inequalities, I want to have some really, really good discussions as far as what's happening. But right now, because it's easy, I'm going to teach you how to use a calculator to a real high level. So break out your calculator with me, and here we go. Okay, here we go. So on the left side, so to get a calculator page, guys, with me, just real quick, for video instruction purposes, home to, menu C, okay. You'll press 1 for a new document, 1 for a calculator page. Control add a doc. you're going to add a graphing calculator. Please don't use the scratch pad. Please don't. What I have coming for you, or better than that, don't use the scratch pad, use the docs. Here we go. Number 1, f of 1, I want you to put 2. Remember, the left side of this equal sign, this one that was 2 all by itself, we're graphing that as its own function. Okay? So we'll go back. There's 2. On the other side, press tab, and I want you to graph 1/2. So here we go, control divide, 1/2 times the absolute value. So the absolute value button can be found over here on the button right next to 9. Okay, so that button next to 9, when you click it, it'll pop up the absolute value. I'm not sure why mine is not doing that right now, but no worries. Alright, so 1/2. Let me make sure that it captures. I think it just glitched out. No worries, I'll get it back. So capture my screen. For my F2 function, we're going to put 1/2. Here we go. Control divide 1/2 times this button right here next to 9. Absolute value of x plus 1. There's the red function. Okay? When are they equal? So you've learned intersections with systems of equations when we used to do those by hand as well. Here we go. It's the button right next to 9. Okay, so when you push that button, it'll pop up. From here, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to press menu. Alright, so let's try that again. We're going to do menu, analyze graph, 4 for the intersection. Now, if I right here is my first intersection. Look, I'm on it right now. And I want to do, look at the bottom left. It says lower bound. So I'm going to go to the left of that intersection and press down on the keypad. And then soft mouse scroll to the right, and you see your first answer pops up as a point. So at -5, 2 is where the first intersection happens. But all I want is which value of this? The x, the -5. So with me, menu, 6, 4. Let's go to the other one where you see the intersection occurring. The lower bound is to the left. Scroll over soft mouse. You get 3, 2. So from the graphing calculator, let me move all this other stuff. So I'll look on F2. If I hold it down, it'll grab it, and then I can soft mouse it out of the way. Press that keypad to let it go. Go over here to the blue. Press down on that keypad to close the hand, and slide it all the way to the left. Press down again to release it, and now you can see it nice and clean. 3 is an answer. -5 is an answer. Y'all see it? That's whenever they cross xy's. Now look, control, add a page. I'm going to do a normal calculator equation, okay? So now, with me, please, press menu, 3 for algebra, 1 for solve. And remember, we've done this with recent stuff. You're going to type it in exactly the way you see it. 2 is equal to 1/2 times, here's that absolute value button again. It's right next to 9. It's the second row, first column. And we're going to type in x plus 1. Then click out by pressing the right arrow. And we want the calculator to do our work for us. Okay? Menu 3, 1. Now, what variable, anyone, am I solving for right now? X. So we're going to do comma x. And look at this. Just like that, it will quickly solve those answers. Now in a test, I don't expect you to be like, ooh, there's my 100 right there. Because on the test, you have a non-calculator section and you have a calculator section. Concentrate on learning the non-calculator more, because then the calculator is easy. More of the test will be non-calculator. All right. Any questions before I move on for bonus points? Okay. So, comma is at the bottom left.
Next to O.
Next to O. Okay. So what we're going to do now for bonus points. Oh, wait. Just real quick. Algebraically are all those points that we did. And you saw all the work. We've done that. We practiced it the last couple of days. Graphically, I actually want to see you, with the graph, show exactly where these things occurred as far as like answers are concerned. So that would be, you'll get points for the graph as far as for your bonus points. Okay, are there any questions before we do the next two for bonus points?
This is wrong. It says syntax every time.
I'll help you. You need a solve feature on that. All right, so what I want you to do in groups, I want you to go ahead and in 6 minutes do number 2 and 3. Don't move on. In 6 minutes, do number 2 and 3. Resuming the video, first of all, let's do it algebraically. My goal is to solve for x, so help me out. What do I do first? Divide by negative 2. So we got 1/2 is equal to that. Breaking this up will give me x minus 1 and x minus 1 is equal to the positive version of what I see and equal to the negative version of what I see. Adding 1 to both sides is the same as adding this. And the reason why I chose that is because when I add or subtract fractions, I need common denominators. When I multiply and divide, I don't need that. Okay? But when I add, I need common denominators. So you have 3/2 here, and negative 1 plus 2 is 1. You have 1/2 here. Drawing this is so important for your more difficult answers, and I want you to always get used to doing this. These are two separate points, no inequalities. Okay? Let's try and plug them in. So plugging in 1/2 here, 1/2 minus 1 is negative 1/2. The absolute value of that is 1/2. That one worked. 3/2 minus 1 is 1/2 because 3/2 minus 1 is minus 2 over 2. The absolute value is still 1/2. So I don't have any extraneous. They both should work. Okay? Now let's go to the graph and then we'll count up points. The left side I'm going to use blue. So y equals negative 1 is right here. I don't move anything. I saw some of you trying to move stuff. Okay? Don't move anything exactly the way it starts off. That's what I want you to graph. So this is going to be a negative 2x minus 1. That means I'm going to shift it what direction? To the right. It's going to reflect across the x-axis, and it's a stretch by 2. So what's the slope per se? 2. It's down 2 over 1. Look. With this, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 to the left 1, down 2 to the left 1, it looks something like that. Now watch. Where these are equal happen right here at 1/2 and also right here at 3/2. Okay? That's how you verify it with the graph. Let me show you what some of you did on your quiz real quick. Okay? Check this out. If I have, because a lot of people have been asking about this question, it's a big, huge question. Is there a difference between those two graphs?
Yes.
Okay. The first one is a vertical stretch by what? 2. The second one is a what? Horizontal compression by 1/2. Watch what I'm about to show you. A slope by 2 looks like this. Up 2 over 1. Go with me? Okay, here we go. A compression, that means this graph is going to be compressed, and it's not going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, because it's compressed by 1/2. It's going to go up 1 over how much? 2. If you were compressed by 1/2, listen very carefully. If you're compressed by 1/2, what's actually happening is you're going to go over 1/2. watch what's happening. Some people don't know this. If I compressed it, I used to go up 1 and then over 1. But if I'm horizontally compressed by 1/2, I'm not going to go over 1 anymore. I'm only going to go over how much? 1/2. So you tell me, 1 divided by 1/2 is the same as what? 1 times heat change flip. This is 2, and so is this. That's when it shows you that a vertical compression, a vertical stretch is the same as a horizontal compression. And a horizontal stretch is the same as a vertical compression. Do you see what I just did there? As far as it showing that slope. I'll show you another one later, but we need to move on.
So on our quiz, where it was asking us what to do, we could have put either.
You could have put either, yeah. Some of you put one or the other. To me, I think, I think this one's easier because when you did this one, a lot of you forgot to put parentheses around x minus whatever it was and stuff like that. But no worries, we'll talk about that when we look at the quiz, when we pass that out.
I got confused. So are you saying those are the same thing or different?
They're the same.
They're the same thing?
Yes, because this one is a vertical stretch, has a slope of 2. This one is a horizontal compression, will still have a slope of 2. Okay? And I've mathematically showed you how that works with that piece right here. And hopefully this representation with the picture helped you see that as far as moving over. Now, I know what you were thinking, and we're going to get to that here in just a bit with the functions that we're doing in just a bit. Any questions though from what I have right now before I give you points? Okay, so here we go. Follow me closely. So we'll say this is 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. If you drew this as a point, drew that as a point, and if you checked it, all these circles are 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're up to 90. On the graph, if you drew the red graph correct, give yourself 10. If you drew the blue graph correct, give yourself 10. If you actually did what I asked you to do of putting these as points of 1/2 -1 and 3/2 -1, I want you to give yourself 10 points each. Alright guys, before we record the last video, I want to end with this problem, okay? So this is still video 2. Right here, the algebra is going to be subtracting 7. Did we already do 2?
No.
Oh, we did 2. We just haven't done 3 yet.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Here we go. If I subtract 3, I get this. And some of you, just watch what I'm doing, will get too much in autopilot mode, and you'll do this and that. Then when you divide, you'll get this, and you'll get this. Some of you probably went all the way here, but this is why we check. If I put this right here, what's -7/2 times 2? -7. Absolute value? +7. +7 plus 3? 10. It's not -4. So this one did not work.
My bad.
Okay? Watch with me. 7/2. If I plug it in here, what's 7/2 times 2? 7. Absolute value? 7 plus 3? 10. It's not going to work. The reason why, when you see it here, you have to ask yourself, the absolute value will always give me a positive. Can that ever equal a negative? No. So it would be no solutions here. Now there's points still. There's a lot of points on this. What I wanted you to do is graph this with red. And I wanted you to graph this with blue. So this is your second example of what we just talked about moments before if you didn't understand it. 0, 3 is the vertex. Is it looking up or down? Up. What's the slope? 2. Does that mean I go up 2 over 1?
Yes.
So listen, look. This, name the transformation. What's the transformation? Horizontal compression by 1/2. That means we go up 1, but because it's horizontally compressed, how much do we go over? 1/2. What's 1 divided by 1/2? It's still 2. So it's still going to have this slope of 2. Okay? So from here, instead of going up 1 over 1, it's going to go up 2 over 1. You with me? Up 2 over 1. Because look, the original graph, if I were to graph it, looks like this. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 left 1, up 1 left 1. Look at that. That is a horizontal compression by 1/2. Okay? So horizontal compression by 1/2, it no longer is as wide as it is. It's now narrower. You with me? So that's why I'm showing you that this slope will have a slope of what? 2. Are these ever equal to one another? No. So that's how you have no solutions. Let's go for the points. If you got it here, give yourself 10. If you put this graph, give yourself 10. Put this graph, give yourself 10. If you wrote no solutions, give yourself 20. So we'll go 50 points for this one.